It's nighttime in a silent desert, and the stars in the sky are shining like witnesses to a forgotten story that has existed for centuries. Far away, a blazing flare lights up the sky in red. There's a faint smell of burnt gas in the air, and the towering oil rigs standing over the sand look like gigantic machines drilling into the Earth's chest to pull out its hidden energy. Think about it: the petrol that fills your car, the fuel that powers airplanes through the sky, the energy that keeps giant factory machines running. The lifeline of all of them is petroleum. But have you ever wondered where petrol actually comes from? How does this black, sticky, foul-smelling liquid we call crude oil form deep inside the earth? And the biggest question of all, how does this black oil transform into the clean, shining energy called petrol that gives power to your vehicle? Friends, the truth is, petrol is not just a fuel. It is a story buried for millions of years. It is the memory of the earth itself, secrets trapped beneath layers of time. Imagine holding a single drop of petrol in your hand. It looks tiny, light, ordinary. But inside that one drop is trapped the soul of microscopic organisms that swam in ancient oceans millions of years ago. Yes, it sounds strange. But petrol didn't begin in modern machines or refineries. Its story started at the bottom of ancient oceans, long before humans even existed on Earth. Today, we live fast-paced lives. We drive for hours, fly across continents, and power entire cities. But perhaps we never realize that our speed runs on the ashes of ancient life. And this is where the real question begins. How is crude oil actually formed? What secret hidden inside the earth turns into energy the moment we burn it? Friends, in today's story, we won't just understand the chemistry of petrol. We will touch the philosophy behind it. The idea that energy never truly comes from nowhere. It only changes form. And petrol is one such form of energy that the earth itself prepared inside its womb over millions of years. Imagine this. On one side, deep inside nature's darkness, heat, pressure, and time were working together to create something extraordinary. On the other side stands the modern world, where humans shape that energy into speed, comfort, and progress. And now, we are about to begin a journey deep into the veins of the earth, from where the black gold, crude oil, emerges. So come with me, friends, as we travel back to a time when there were no humans, no cities, only an endless blue ocean where life was taking its very first breaths. Imagine Earth millions of years ago. In the depths of the sea floated tiny microscopic organisms, plankton, algae, and countless tiny life forms so small they were invisible to the naked eye. Yet those same tiny organisms are the reason our cars move today. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Petrol is, in reality, the remains of ancient marine life. Above the ocean, the sun shined brightly. Beneath the waves, life flourished. But nature follows one rule: everything that is born must eventually die. When these tiny organisms died, they sank to the ocean floor and slowly began to accumulate. Layer after layer, millions and billions of dead organisms piled up beneath the sea. At first, this was just ordinary organic matter, but over time, layers of sand, mud, and sediment buried them deeper and deeper. The pressure increased. Heat from the earth penetrated the layers. And then began one of nature's greatest transformations. Imagine it like this: a massive natural pressure cooker forming deep inside the earth. Millions of tons of pressure from above, heat rising from below, and trapped in the middle were the dark remains of ancient life. As time passed, pressure increased, heat intensified, and the organic matter slowly began to break apart. Molecules split and rearranged over millions of years, transforming into something entirely new: hydrocarbons. These hydrocarbons eventually became what we now call crude oil. So crude oil is not just some random chemical liquid. It is ancient energy created by time, pressure, and heat deep within the earth, a fossilized memory transformed into energy. Think about it. Every time we burn petrol, we are actually burning sunlight from millions of years ago. Because those microscopic organisms stored solar energy inside themselves, and today that same energy returns to the world in the form of petrol. But the story doesn't end there. Deep within the earth, this crude oil remained trapped for thousands of years, hidden, compressed, waiting. Then humans arrived, driven by curiosity and need, and began searching for ways to reach these hidden veins of energy. Now the question becomes, how do humans extract this black treasure from the depths of the earth? Friends, we've seen how crude oil slowly formed deep inside the earth over millions of years. But how does humanity actually reach this hidden treasure? To understand that, we must step into the world of oil drilling, a world where humans pierce the earth's chest to pull energy from its veins. Step 1. Before extracting oil, scientists first need to determine whether oil even exists beneath the ground. For this, they use seismic surveys. Small vibrations are sent into the earth, and the echoes that bounce back reveal what lies below: oil, water, rock, or gas. It works much like an ultrasound scan performed by a doctor. The only difference is that here, the patient is the earth itself. Step 2. Now imagine a giant steel tower rising into the sky. Beneath it, a massive machine slowly drills downward into the earth. This is called a drilling rig. These rigs can drill 3 to 4 kilometers deep into darkness, extreme heat, and ancient energy that has slept for millions of years. At the tip of the drill is a hardened metal tool called the drill bit. It spins relentlessly, crushing through rock layers while massive machines roar above. The sound is deafening, the ground vibrates, and humans stand there trying to awaken one of nature's oldest energy sources. Step 3. As the drill goes deeper, the biggest challenge becomes pressure. The pressure underground is so intense that without control, even a tiny mistake could trigger a catastrophic explosion. That's why engineers use drilling mud, a special liquid that cools the drill and balances underground pressure. You can think of it as the bodyguard of the drilling process. Step 4. Finally, when the drill reaches the oil reservoir, the trapped gas and oil begin searching for a way out. Suddenly, a slight jolt occurs, and black liquid starts rising through the pipe. This is the moment when humans first witnessed the liquid formed from the death of ancient sea life millions of years ago. Petroleum engineers call it the first breath of the well. It feels as though the earth itself is exhaling after millions of years. Step 5. Heavy machinery then pumps the crude oil to the surface. It flows through pipelines and into separating tanks. But remember, this is still not petrol. It is raw crude oil, filled with gas, water, sand, and impurities. Its true transformation has yet to happen inside the fire of the refinery. Friends, now we have brought crude oil out of the earth's depths, but it is still thick, dark, foul-smelling, and impure. Its real journey begins inside the refinery. A refinery is a place where science, fire, smoke, and giant machines come together to create one of the world's most important forms of energy. First, crude oil is heated to nearly 400 degrees Celsius. As it begins to boil, it is sent into a gigantic structure called a fractional distillation column. This tower is several stories tall and contains multiple levels, each with different temperatures. Imagine the tower, extremely hot at the bottom and cooler at the top. As crude oil vapor rises upward, different hydrocarbons separate according to their boiling points. At the very top comes LPG. Below that, petrol or gasoline. Then naphtha, kerosene, jet fuel, diesel, and at the bottom, lubricants, wax, and asphalt. Inside the refinery, an invisible sorting system is at work, and temperature is the king controlling everything. But separation alone is not enough. Crude oil contains long and heavy hydrocarbon chains that cannot directly become petrol, so refineries perform a process called cracking. The idea is simple. break large molecules into smaller ones so they can become lighter fuels like petrol. There are different types of cracking: thermal cracking, catalytic cracking, and hydrocracking. Inside these plants, intense heat, pressure, and catalysts break apart heavy molecules and reshape them into petrol. In other words, refineries don't just separate crude oil, they scientifically redesign it. But petrol must do more than simply burn. It must perform efficiently. That's where octane rating comes in. Octane rating measures how smoothly petrol burns inside an engine without causing knocking. To increase octane levels, certain components are chemically modified in a process called reforming. After reforming, petrol becomes more than fuel. It becomes high-performance energy. Crude oil also contains sulfur and other harmful contaminants that can damage both engines and the environment. Refineries remove these impurities to create cleaner fuel. That clean smell of petrol you notice at a fuel station? That's actually the result of purification. The refined petrol is then stored in gigantic storage tanks so large that entire football stadiums could fit inside them. But even now, the journey is not over. This petrol still has to travel from the refinery to the fuel station near your home. Friends, inside the refinery, petrol has finally gained its true identity, but it is still far away from reaching your car. Now begins another dangerous journey. Because petrol is one of the most demanded, most valuable, and most stolen liquids in the world. After leaving the refinery, petrol travels through pipelines stretching hundreds of kilometers beneath the earth, crossing rivers, mountains, and cities to reach storage depots. These pipelines feel like the true veins of the earth, carrying energy across nations. But the journey is risky. Leakage, pressure imbalance, or temperature variation. One small mistake could lead to disaster. That's why these pipelines are monitored 24 hours a day using sensors, satellites, and pressure control systems. Near every major city are huge storage facilities called tank farms. Here, petrol is carefully stored to maintain quality and avoid contamination. Imagine it. Before fuel reaches every car in your city, it first waits silently inside these giant tanks. Then comes perhaps the most sensitive stage of all, fuel tanker trucks. These shining silver trucks carry petrol from depots to fuel stations. But remember, they are transporting highly explosive energy. That's why they are equipped with advanced safety systems, anti-static protection, multiple compartments, special valves, and temperature control mechanisms. Whenever you see a tanker truck at a petrol station, realize that you are witnessing the most dangerous stage of petrol's journey. Once it reaches the fuel station, the petrol is stored inside underground tanks beneath the station itself. Now the petrol is clean, standardized, and ready. From here, it finally enters your vehicle and gives life to your engine. But does the story of petrol end here? No. The biggest question still remains. The world is changing rapidly. Electric vehicles are rising. Solar, wind, and hydrogen energy are expanding. Oil reserves are shrinking, and pollution is becoming a global threat. So will petrol disappear one day? Scientists say yes, eventually. But not yet. Petrol still has an unmatched grip over transportation, aviation, heavy machinery, and industry. But the future belongs to a multi-energy world, where petrol and electricity will coexist side by side. Friends, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because every week, I bring you stories that are not just information, but experiences you can truly feel.